11, a resolution authorized the renovation of existing space in APD investigation unit to support a digital forensic program workspace at cost of $312,503.02.
Good afternoon, committee. Lieutenant Tom McNamara, Administrative Services Lieutenant with the Aurora Police Department.
Jim Virtual, once again, Chief Public Facility Officer. I'm going to take you through the facility side, and then Lieutenant will take you through the APD side. It's going to be a small build-out. There's an empty room there. There's pictures attached, and we're just basically going to square off the room, put a server room in there, and then we're going to have cubicles for the employees that were bought through the cooperative purchasing program. We'll put electrical, we'll ground the floor, and that's pretty much the extent of the facility side of it. Now the Lieutenant talk about the PD side of it.
All right. So the project itself is pretty much being contained within the investigations unit of the police department. There is currently it's about a 525 square foot conference room that is on the far west end of the floor, or inside the unit, that is controlled access or secured access, that is very seldomly used. It very seldomly has been used since we moved in, because there's other workspaces within investigations that are used. Our current digital forensics room has been growing for the last 4 or 5 years as we've added to it. We've added a digital forensics investigator. He's a civilian employee. And as the unit, or digital forensics unit, I'm going to call it that, has grown, we've gotten more and more equipment. And at the time, we used a very small storage closet area that was centralized inside of the investigations unit as a whole to house this program. As you can see from the pictures that were attached with the Legistar, it's very cramped in there right now. It didn't start out that way 4 years ago, but this is where we're at now. And I tried to explain it in the cover memo here, but the amount of technical data received or brought in on most every investigation these days is extensive. Cell phones, computers, vehicles, cars, all the computers in a car. And it requires a lot of time, effort, and resources to try to efficiently extract that data, then process it, and then analyze it in a way that the digital forensics investigator can give that to a detective to work a case, build a case, and then try to successfully bring that through to get charges and then prosecute it. The state's attorney's offices know or are very much aware of the amount of digital data and the value that it has, and they often require us to do all of this work. Obviously, we would try to do it anyway, but we're at a point where we've pretty much just outgrown the room, and it's not efficient. It wasn't designed for this equipment. All of this equipment produces a lot of heat that right now we're kind of using makeshift fans to extract the heat out of this room so that we don't overheat computers and all the sensitive technology that's in there. So what we've done is we worked with the digital forensics investigator to help design the room, the work furniture. You'll see that through the quote that's in there. It's not cheap, I agree, but it's the right equipment for the job to make a more efficient workflow, a quicker product, and better serve the citizens of our city. So Jim went over the facility side of it. That's pretty much my side of it, and I'm open to any questions I can answer on that.
Yeah, I saw the floor plan. It's next to the court, right? Right, almost in the corner?
No, it's actually kind of in the middle of the building. If you're looking at the building from east to west, it's in the middle, but it's at the very west end of the investigations floor. If you've been to the KIC unit, it shares a wall with the KIC unit. Mm-hmm. That's the room that we're proposing.
What was in that room before? Was it storage?
No, it was designed as a major case room, like a conference room that they could, in major cases such as a homicide or an aggravated battery, that investigators could go in there, have a conference with, officers or attorneys or just whatever they had to do and put things on a whiteboard and leave it up there. And then both doors in that room are secured. So there's less of an opportunity for somebody that's not supposed to have that information see it,
Well,
if that makes sense.
It's kind of expensive, but I think it's necessary, especially if it's for evidence and all that, and resolve the cases more fast, I think. Questions, comments? Yes?
Yeah, I have some questions, I guess not directly related to the renovation, more about the digital forensic program, and the policies around storing that data. I don't think it would be stored in this room. It'd probably be stored elsewhere on a database. Do we know if there are existing policies for security auditing of this data? I know in the private sector, SOC 2 is used as a security audit. And are there maybe data retention policies?
I'll do the best I can because it's a little bit above my head, but in this room currently, our digital forensics investigator has his own server that is off of the city network so that there's, I don't want to say built-in security, but less of an opportunity to get hacked. It's has its own secure T1 line that comes in. The proposal that's in front of you includes the build-out of another server room. It's a smaller server room, but as far as how all of that is stored, where, that's kind of beyond my knowledge. I could say this, the workflow in the room, and I tried to capture it in that picture, or one of those pictures. Let's say cell phones, for example. They're brought in from our evidence unit. They're brought into the room while he's working on them, and then they're put back into evidence when he's completed, just in case it's needed for the criminal case, anytime in the future. The data itself, I can look into it for you, but I don't know if we have a specific policy on how that is maintained or audited.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's something that would be worth pursuing maybe in a separate meeting. Yeah, I'm curious about a lot of things around the way we're storing data. As you said, there's more and more data that we're collecting that's available as technology is collecting data in every space. Everyone has cameras everywhere. So I think it's important to be mindful of how we're storing that and how to protect people's data.
I would agree with that. I am sure that there's standards in place. I couldn't speak to that right now.
Okay.
I don't want to attempt to even talk about that, but supposedly he said that nothing on it should be on the city's network. So it goes all to, I think it's FBI.
I couldn't
But I can't speak to that.
speak to that right now, yeah. I do know that the server room that he's talking about being built, there's specifications for cooling just because of the amount of heat that it produces, which is kind of a problem we're running into right now. So that is
Especially in a
accounted for.
small space.
Yeah.
And that's something I didn't mention. In this plan, there's a ductless split that's going into that server room to give additional cooling. So I didn't mention that.
What is the plan to finish the whole area in there, the room? With the
How long?
equipment and everything?
How long?
Yes.
I would say 3 months max.
I believe there's a 60 to 90-day lead time on furniture. Obviously, the room would have to be built out first. Something I think I forgot to mention at the beginning here is the project is slated to be funded through drug funds, asset forfeiture through the Department of Justice. There was a 2025 decision package to use those funds for this project. It was a carryover, and that was in the amount of, I believe, $240,000. So there's a difference here of $72,503, I believe. And that would be handled through a budget amendment from the asset forfeiture fund to cover that difference.
So I can see that the room is being built out for a team of 3, looking at that next person possibly next year. is the new space that they're going to be moving into, if this group does expand even further, is there room to add another fourth person, potentially a fifth person, or are you capped at that 3-person space?
So I think it's important to note, we do have the one DFI now. We're currently in the hiring process of a second DFI through the 2025 decision package. And we have plans to request a digital analyst for 2026. So that would be 3 individuals. Now, whether or not they have to have their main desks inside that room, it's more so of a appropriate workspace for them. One thing that's mentioned in the proposal, but there's static dissipated floors that they're trying to build in. If not, all the workstations have to be grounded to account for the sensitive nature of electronics and just static shock, static electricity. So that's why the space was identified, but we do have open cubicles outside if they had to have an actual physical desk to sit at to do their paperwork and their reports. This would be more of a workspace. So I don't want to say it's made only for 3 people. I'm sure more than 3 could work inside of there. There's more than 3 workstations. The way you look at it, I mean, several people could be working at the same time in there.
I appreciate that.
More questions?
Yeah, Madam Chair, if I
Yes.
may. Lieutenant, is this your first time? Was your first project before us?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I
okay.
took over for now Commander Raleigh.
Yeah, I wasn't here 2 weeks ago, so I wasn't sure if you just showed up, but.
No, this is my first one. Could
All
you
right.
tell?
Well, we'll say this. You definitely have gone back to a standard that we had when I was first on finance, or she was on the finance committee, and what the presentations were from the fire department. I would say you're right there, if not a little bit over. You don't do it, but the only thing probably make this better presentation is probably a video. But here's my first question. But first of all, I'd like to say that 21 years ago, I worked on a police station in my architectural practice, and heating and air conditioning is very important. And Rich brought up static, and it's highly important too, especially when you're dealing with data. So, not to be underestimated. It's more so than just space and having enough space too for what the function and what needs to happen there for the department. But you have provided so much. I have a real tough question for you this first time.
Sure.
And it's going to be more of a recommendation because I saw the pictures.
Sure.
For me personally, my taste, the colors are a little dated. If your superiors don't want to make a choice to improve things, the gentleman right here next to you, Mr. Birchall, he's done a nice job with this room.
Thank you.
I'm sure he more help you pick some colors there that people can enjoy, especially in a closed space. There's no windows in that too, so make it comfortable.
I would be happy to use Mr. Birchall as my interior designer on
Yeah.
this project.
Oh, thank you.
So, and
Yeah, definitely, I agree with you. It's the proper space is an important aspect to the project. I mean, we're currently using a box fan in the ceiling to extract heat, and we've outgrown for sure.
yeah, well, comfort's very important, especially when you don't have windows as well, besides the conditioning of the space.
Or windows that open.
There you go, that too, perhaps too. So I appreciate this presentation.
All right, you're
you had
welcome.
before
Thank
us.
you.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve.
Okay. Motion
Second.
approved by Alderman Telmesiaco, second Alderman Nunez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion passed 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.